Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Medicine for These Times. I'm Beth Weinstein. I am inspired today to speak about the subject of burnout. There is one thing I hear a lot from potential clients, the general public, current clients, past clients, is how burnout so many people are. And I've been thinking about this lately because I do meet a lot of entrepreneurs, even online entrepreneurs, even coaches, psychedelic therapists, space holders, spiritual teachers, leaders, people who are doing work that they love. And I still hear very often how burnout people are getting. And I started to think about this recently is like, why don't I get burnout? Here's the thing. Truth be told, I do get burnout once in a while, but I don't ever get burnout like I used to, especially not in my first few years of entrepreneurship, or definitely nothing like I ever had when I worked for other people. For example, when I worked in corporate America or in the tech startup world, I got burnout a lot, pretty much the whole time. And of course, I get a lot of clients coming to me and my group mastermind program and my private coaching who come from a whole career in, let's say, the corporate world, or maybe they're doctors or nurses, or they work in some form of healthcare. I get a lot of people out of the healthcare industry who just feel really burnt out. And even over the years, the one thing I've witnessed is even people that make a lot of money with really great corporate jobs that give them a ton of benefits, they even feel burnout. And even clients of mine that have had super successful seven-figure businesses get burnout. So why is it that this is an epidemic, a pandemic across our world, or at least across the Western world and lots of our society? Why do so many people feel burnout? What is the problem here? I will acknowledge this is a system-wide problem. It's not something that's just like, oh, it's just people hate their jobs and that's it. So I do acknowledge, like, maybe it's the entire system of capitalism that is slightly broken or very broken. But putting that aside, why is it that even within, let's say the system actually worked a little bit better, why is it that people who live in countries where they do get 5 weeks vacation and a year maternity leave and great benefits, why is it that they feel burnout? Because I've had a lot of clients in Europe that live in these kind of countries that are a little more supportive than, let's say, the US when it comes to benefits and time off and lifestyle. But why is it that so many people are burnout? And I don't know the real answer to that. All I know is what my own experience is. So I've been wondering, like, why is it that I don't get so burnout that I can't work, or like I just don't feel like doing anything? And I've thought about this recently. So I just came off of running my Psychedelic Sacred Medicines Purpose and Business Summit, which is the biggest launch I do all year. And it is definitely a lot of work. It takes a few months of work. And yeah, there's definitely times during it where I'm like, wow, we've been working a lot and I feel a little burnout. But most of the time, I do not. And what I noticed is especially the last like 4 years, maybe, well, yeah, like 4 to 5 years, I've really been doubling down on making sure that I do not get burnt out so that I am really able to show up and serve my clients at my highest and best. So what I do in my business is I really do tend to only work 4 days a week. Usually if I work, let's say on a Friday, or sometimes I'll choose to not work at all on a Friday and I'll work on a Sunday night because I don't tend to go out much on Sunday nights. So I don't mind sitting at home and catching up on a Sunday night. But I really leave that space to just really disconnect from my work and connect to nature, to connect to my body and myself. I leave space for making sure I have really good, healthy food being cooked and, like eating really good, healthy foods generally. I work out a few days a week so that I'm feeling really good. I try to get an ample amount of sleep. But the one thing I do is the second I start to really feel that burnout in my business, I actually just like shut it down and say I need a break. And if that means that maybe things are not moving as fast as I'd like them to, or maybe I have things I'm now behind on, or it's usually never clients. I never neglect my clients, but the summit, I had a really busy couple weeks with the summit, and there was so much more stuff to do during it. But there was a day where I just said, you know what? Let's do this on Monday. I can't do any more today. I'm just not good. I can't work. Like, I need the day off to recharge, or else my energy levels are going to be depleted, which then affects how the launch goes. It affects how I show up. It affects, my energetic field that people can feel. So I've really been attuning to how is my energy doing as I run my business. And like any human being, we are definitely going to have energetic spurts where we can work. Like at the beginning of August, for some reason, I had tons of energy and I had no problem working like all the time for 3 weeks straight, or 4 weeks, something like that. And I was like, great, I have a lot of energy. Let me just ride this wave of energy and like really dive in. And then, okay, I come back from Burning Man. I feel a little more depleted. Then it's like, okay, well, let me work with the energy I do have. Sometimes you have to push through those, but not to the point of burnout, not to the point of not being able to serve. The last thing you want to do, and this is where I say to coaches, healers, and especially therapists or anybody working in the psychedelic space, if you get to any point in your business where you are dreading working with a client, or don't want to do client calls, or don't want to show up for your group program, or you're kind of rolling your eyes at a client, like, or something about that client is feeling draining or just not lighting you up, that is a point where you have to really ask yourself, like, what is this all about? And if you're burnout, take care of yourself and do what it takes to recharge and hit the reset button. If that means disconnecting, this is one thing I do. I try to disconnect from technology for the 2.5, 3 days a week, like really not going online, not scrolling. Like I don't scroll, not posting much, like really just being offline. If that means like having to take a week off, like, okay, I rarely to never take a whole week off unless I'm genuinely on a vacation or like need like a dedicated week off, or if I'm really sick and hey, I just can't work because I'm so sick. Like if you're sick, be sick and don't work. So I really believe it's seeing everything as energy. If you tune into your energy and how you're feeling, and even we can get into like your own human design and working with your energetic blueprint and how your energy body, your energy field is designed to function, then you're actually going to be much more efficient and burn out less. And so that's the one approach I've taken for years, where even before I knew my human design, I've always been so in tune with like, okay, here are my energy levels for these things, and then other energy levels for these other things, like things that I don't really want to put my energy into or don't enjoy. That's where I would maybe outsource or hire out or just not do it at all, or ask myself, well, where are my priorities and which one of these things do I really have the energy for today or this week or at this time? There was once I went to launch an entire program and I just wasn't feeling it. And I could feel like there's something about this that doesn't feel like it's appropriate for where my energy is right now with what I was going through at the time. So I actually scrapped the entire launch. There was one time I launched a program where my energy was really off, like I wasn't feeling it, but I launched it anyways, and it was really not a great launch. So that's where I think it's really important for you as someone who's of service to really ask yourself what you need, what you want. And for example, I had a former client once who was, like a coach, therapist, helping people. And that person got to the point where this client of mine said, I'm feeling pretty burnout and I'm actually not enjoying working with these clients anymore. So, and this has happened with a lot of clients I've worked with over years, where I say like, well, what's it going to take then? Like, do you have to cut the cord a little bit? Like maybe you just cut back on that kind of work and increase the work that gives you energy, that's regenerative, that fulfills you, that fills your cup and fills your energy levels, where it's actually much more sustainable to run your business that way, doing work that lights you up a lot more. But if you're doing work that feels like it's just so hard and it's a chore and you hate most of it, then you have to ask, like, well, why are you doing it? It's kind of like, and I say this a lot for people that want to be coaches or healers or therapists or guides or space holders, you have to really like people. I mean, it's very hard to have a people-centered business if you don't like working with people. So, it's really about being authentic with yourself and your own needs and your own energy levels, and then also taking care of it. I hate to use the word self-care because it sounds so, it's being thrown around so much lately around like, take a bubble bath, like take care of yourself. It's like, it's not about the bubble baths. It's about, yeah. And by the way, I do take bubble baths fairly often, especially during the times of the year that are not summer. But it's not about the baths. It's about every single living moment of like, how are you really tuning to your own needs and like your care for yourself and your energy levels. And yes, there's a reality to being an entrepreneur. There are many times you have to do things that you don't want to do. There are many times where I have certain due dates because of deadlines, because of certain things that I'm doing, where I actually have to do things where I'm really like, God, I wish I didn't have to do this, but I do. And then the second I work on it, it lights me up and I feel fine. But so I have clients that are manifesting generators and projectors and full generators, and I can really see and sense like how they work with their own energy level. And I found that the more you really know and study yourself and constantly go inward and are constantly asking like, what lights me up? Which of these things do I hate doing? Which of these things do I love doing? And which do I want to be doing, but I'm uncomfortable doing? Which ones am I willing to step a little out of my comfort zone to do? And there is a reality. If you want to do anything new in your life, like a new business or a new arm of your business or a new level of clients that you're serving or a new level of income that you've never had before, in order to get there, it's going to take doing something new. That is just the reality. It's like a literal formula, meaning if you want to serve 60 clients and you're currently only serving 8, like there are a lot of uncomfortable things you're probably going to have to start doing. But it does not mean that you're constantly uncomfortable or constantly hating it. This is what I help my clients do inside of my group mastermind program, is really tune into what is it that is lighting you up the most of all these things that I've taught you. Here are all the effective strategies. Here are the ways to do them. Here are the baby steps. And here's how you make them feel good for your energy level, feel good for what you want to be doing, that excite you and inspires you, and it feels regenerative and sustainable. And maybe it's a little uncomfortable too. That's okay. That's part of the growth of doing something new, of stepping into a higher up level that you've never had before. So there is this balance between getting out of your comfort zone, but like also really tuning into what is it that you really need in this current moment right now? And what is it you want? Like, what is feeling authentic to you? And I have found that the more you really pay attention, and, for those of you who've been following my work, you've seen me talk about this golden triangle diagram where you have to be served just as much as your potential clients, your ideal clients, your actual clients, like the people over here. And it's really a balance between you and them. It's not overgiving and undergiving yourself, and it's not overgiving yourself and underserving others. It's about bringing that into balance. And then the triangle, the top of the pyramid, the top of that sacred pyramid, which by the way is coming in my new branding, is the deeper mission that you have. Like, why are you even here to doing this? Every now and then, it's very rare, but every now and then I'll meet someone who's kind of like, I just want to make money coaching because it looks really easy. And I'm like, that is not the top of your pyramid. That is not really your mission of like why you're really put here on earth. It's like, why do you really want to be coaching people? Why do you really feel called to be a healer? Like, what do you want to see change in the world? What's your mission? What's your own vision for your life and for the lives of your potential clients? So my symbol that I use all the time, which by the way is incorporated into my new branding that's coming out hopefully soon, is this golden triangle of what I call the divine abundance, of the balance of all three of them. And when you get those into balance, you, the other, and then this larger mission, that is where it really just starts to flow. But this is also how you avoid the burnout, is to really get all of it into balance, which again does not mean staying comfortable. It means getting out of your comfort zone, but with some awareness of your needs and your desires and what lights you up the most and what gets you excited. And also like, what don't you want? What do you want to like stand for in your business? Like for me, my dream was to like never work Fridays. Like, and honestly, I thought about changing Fridays to like Mondays. It doesn't matter what day of the week it is. It's just Fridays for me are like, I go to yoga every Friday morning, and then I sometimes get a matcha, and then I'll run errands, or I'll spend time in the garden, or I'll go for a hike, or I'll, have a good meal or go see some friends. It's like my self-care day. This is not a weekend, like the traditional like weekend is only the only time. No, who said that? So for me, it's like trying to really feel into like what works best for me, what works best for what seasons I'm really busy and what seasons I'm less busy. What time of the year do I want to work a lot harder, and what time of the year do I want more time off? Where do I want to be in the winter? Where do I want to be in the summer? And once you get a lot of that more into alignment with what is really your deepest needs of your energy field, your soul, your body, your heart, everything, you will not get burnout, and you'll actually have a very successful business. And by the way, I'm not saying if you're not burnout, that equals success. What I'm saying is there is a way to have it all. And so many people were taught that we can't have it all. There's so many limiting beliefs, and I know this because I went through this, limiting beliefs around having to work hard, or it's only grind and hustle. And that's not true. I mean, yes, I work hard, and there are moments where I'm like, I definitely hustled, and I still sometimes hustle, and I actually enjoy it. And I don't even call it the hustle, because to me, it is just like living my soul's purpose and taking a stand for what I want to see in the world, in my ideal clients' lives, So I just wanted to share about this. I hope this kind of helped you shed a little bit of light on how to avoid burnout, how to be an entrepreneur and stay in balance. And even if you're not an entrepreneur and maybe you dream of it, but you can't quit your job, or you don't want to quit your job, maybe start to think about how you can actually weave this into whatever it is you're doing. Because I genuinely, and I've seen clients of mine do this, I genuinely think that all of us deserve to really live the lifestyle we want. And maybe that means speaking up and putting your foot down and saying like, this is my new demand, take it or leave it. Or this is what I'm going to declare for myself. Or I'm just going to say, once a month I'm taking a sick day, or whatever it is, whatever you need. There is always a way. And if you never take time to really feel into it and do something about it, then how do you know if it's actually going to work or not? Or if it's even going to, are you going to get fired just by asking for, to work from home from now on? No, or whatever it is, I'm just giving you examples. I hope this inspired you in some way or another. And thank you so much for being here. If you are interested in learning more about my group mastermind program, applications are open now, and I would love to speak to you and answer any questions you might have. See you next week on Tuesday for next week's episode. Bye.